Taking care of a loved one can be overwhelming, especially when their needs start to increase. You may have heard the term live-in caregiver and wonder if that's the right solution. But what does a live-in caregiver actually do, and how does that compare to other home care options? In this video, I'm going to break down exactly what live-in care is, how it works, and why oftentimes home care is a better fit for families than live-in care. All right, so what is a live-in caregiver? It is essentially a caregiver, just the same that you would get from a home care agency, but they are living in your home. They can help with things like general companionship, supervision throughout the day, bathing, grooming, dressing, light housekeeping, and help with mealtime. However, live-in care comes with some limitations that oftentimes many families don't realize. For one, a live-in caregiver must be provided their own bedroom. They must have 8 hours of uninterrupted sleep time and 8 hours of personal time off each day. So that is 16 hours of time through the day that you are paying for but not getting care for. So how does live-in care compare to home care? One of the biggest misunderstandings is that live-in care means around-the-clock care. This is simply not true. Remember, a live-in caregiver needs 8 hours of uninterrupted sleep. They cannot get up to your loved one in the middle of the night or during the day whenever their sleep time is scheduled. They have 8 hours of off-duty or personal time, and they're not required to be awake or available 24/7. If your loved one needs overnight care, it makes way more sense to have a traditional home care team than live-in care. With traditional home care, you can have a team who is coming in and doing 24/7 care around the clock that is focused solely on your loved one. No sleeping time, no downtime, it's just direct care. And with home care, you're only paying for the hours that you need. So essentially, you're not paying for somebody to have their time off or sleep. Additionally, a lot of times live-in care can seem like a good deal, but it really isn't. Live-in rates can vary, and they can be as low as $300 and as high as $500 I've seen. However, if you factor in the idea that they will only truly be working for 8 hours, well, now you have to take your cost, divide it by 8 hours, and that's your new hourly rate. So, whereas traditional home care may cost $32 per hour, and that seems expensive, live-in caregivers, if you pay $400 a day, well, for 8 hours, you're paying $50 an hour. Plus, with traditional home care, you don't need a spare bedroom. People can come and go as they need. You don't have to provide all of these extra accommodations. And again, you're only paying for the hours that you need and want. So what does a live-in caregiver do? During their working hours, a live-in caregiver might help with personal care, such as bathing, grooming, or dressing, meal preparation, light cleaning, and laundry, medication reminders, and basic wellness monitoring. They can help with companionship and emotional support, transportation to appointments, and errands. But when care needs fall outside of their scheduled hours, then you need additional support from caregivers. So you might ask, who is live-in care best for? Live-in care might work best for seniors who need help during the day, non-continuously, and sleep through the night. So, for instance, if your loved one needs somebody to help them get bathed and dressed in the morning, and then they don't really need anything after breakfast until lunchtime, the hours can be flexible for a live-in caregiver. They don't have to be 8 hours straight through. They can be an hour on, an hour off, an hour on, 2 hours off, etc., etc. Live-in care works very well for people who just need supervision throughout the day for the most part. It can also work pretty well for individuals who have predictable routines, families who have a spare bedroom available, and situations where 24/7 supervision is not necessarily required. However, as your care needs increase, live-in care might become limiting, and sometimes it can get a lot more expensive than expected. So here's some of the hidden challenges of live-in care. And also, here's a few important considerations that families should think about. Again, first, you must provide a private bedroom for the caregiver. Second is you're still paying for off-duty time and sleep time even when care isn't being provided. And third, if needs change, such as medical concerns, falls risks, or nighttime wandering, live-in care most likely will no longer be appropriate without adding in additional coverage. So here's why traditional or flexible home care is a better option. Home care allows you to schedule caregivers only when care is actually needed. You can build coverage for overnights, 24/7, whatever is needed. There's a very large variety and it's extremely flexible. And you can adjust the schedules as your needs change. Plus, you're not paying for any sleep or off-duty times. And your loved one can receive care without needing a spare bedroom. So anybody who's in a studio apartment we got you. Instead of fitting your loved one's needs into the availability of a caregiver schedule, home care will adapt around your family. For instance, home care can provide 24/7 care as well, and here's how. With home care, caregivers will come in scheduled shifts. This means that somebody is alert, engaged, and providing care for the hours that they are there. This model offers greater flexibility, much better safety for high-need situations, easier coverage changes, and of course, less disruption to your household. So, how do you choose the right option? Every situation is of course different, and live-in care might work in some cases, but for families that have changing schedules, need overnight support, or have varying needs, home care becomes the most sustainable and effective choice. The right solution is the one that meets your loved one's needs today while offering flexibility for the future as well, and can grow with them tomorrow.